So it's taken so very long, but we have finally seen Silence.
Let's talk about it. So, Silence is the latest film by Martin Scorsese. He's been trying to get this made for 28 years, which is a really, really long time. He's finally got it made. It stars Andrew Garfield, Adam Driver, and Liam Neeson. It's basically about those two younger characters going into feudal Japan back in the 16th century.
1600s, yeah.
1600s. Going to try to find Liam Neeson's character, who's basically denounced his Christian faith, and they're basically going to spread the word of God and try to find out where he is.
Yeah, and find out what's happened. And obviously this trailer, the trailer for the film is absolutely kick-ass, and we freaking frothed it. And my goodness, you know, like this film, going into it, we knew it wasn't going to be exactly what the trailer represented.
It was going to be a lot slower.
A hell of a lot slower. It's almost 3 hours. It's going to be a journey, and it's going to be a real slow ride. And I tell you what, like, I embraced it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I really did enjoy it. And I think it kind of comes down to Scorsese, I suppose, like his vision in the first place to come out and decide to make a film like this. My goodness, really enjoyed it. Performances, I think, here as well are absolutely outstanding. I've got to say, Andrew Garfield's performance here, I kind of actually prefer him in this over Hacksaw Ridge. I found a little bit more articulated.
It's really hard work that he had to go through with
and there's just a lot of thoughts going on. Like, all of them across the board. Liam Neeson was freaking incredible.
Considering he's not in it for long.
No, he's only got a very small role, and originally this role was meant to be played by DDO, and you can see, because, I mean, like, yeah, like, this is a heavy role to undertake as an actor, and there's a lot going on, and that's the great thing about all these characters here. The thing is, you can see the actors have really worked to build their character on screen, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
They
you
feel
never really get to understand. Yeah, for sure. And Adam Driver as well, I've got to say, my God.
He's probably my favourite of the three, to be honest.
I think so. Plus, also one of my favourite performances by him I've seen so far, because he was so committed. Like,
is the best.
There's one scene of him on the beach where he's just giving it all. Like, and I think that's the biggest thing, is I could believe every single actor and what they were doing, and it came through on screen.
I think it goes across to the whole crew as well. I feel like everyone involved in this film, knowing how important it was to one of cinema's greatest directors ever, they all really gave it their all, and it's really, really apparent on screen. It really, really translates. What I will say, though, is that we've actually kind of had a bit of a different response to this film overall. It's one of those films where, because of it being about faith, it's kind of open to interpretation a little bit, or it's going to be kind of have people a little bit divided over things. And so for me, obviously we knew it wasn't going to be quite as intense as the trailer. The trailer's really fast-paced, it's really full-on. But it still wasn't exactly what I was expecting. The film kind of has... Considering it's about two characters going somewhere to try to find someone, the plot for me just didn't really have any drive. Like, I really felt the 3 hours. And the thing is, for me, I really get the intention of the whole film. It's meant to feel slow. There's specifically no music, and it uses silence, obviously, for that exact reason. And for me, I kind of just found it really hard to invest in the film overall, because I just wasn't really engaged by it, considering it's a question of, first of all, will they or won't they find him? And second of all, it's a case of, like, will they or won't they give up their faith type of thing. And for me, those questions just didn't really grip me the way I think they were supposed to.
I suppose the interesting thing is here is, like, going into it, we both kind of thought it was going to be like a grand biblical epic at some sorts, but it was actually a hell of a lot more human rather than anything else. And like, it shows, because he uses a lot more close-ups rather than the wides that are shown in the trailer. Yeah. And like, when the wides are used, they're fantastic, and like, they really did engage me emotionally. And the same thing happened with the close-ups for me, I suppose. I was kind of like enjoying the characters and the way they were interpreting their faith, and kind of how they were as people and like living their lives, I suppose.
But for me, that just didn't really work. For me, I was just, I hate to say it, because this movie is going to bore a lot of people, and I can understand that. Like, it's going to happen, because it's a 3-hour movie. It's a very singular in its subject matter. And for me, I'm not bored by the length or the pacing. That's not necessarily the problem. It's just, there's just something that just stopped me from connecting in it. And when you're watching, I mean, the photography, as I've said, is beautiful, but so much of it came down to just jumping back and forth, close up, back and forth like that. And like, for me, I just wasn't engaged in that at all. And unfortunately, you know, that really sucks, because I was sitting there the whole time like, I want to be loving this so much more than I do right now. but I just didn't. But at the same time, I do see how good it is. And I see this as a really grand piece of filmmaking and a really singular vision. The thing is as well though, is for me, is like, I just think Scorsese's visual style probably didn't lend to this film as well as I'd have liked it to. There's a lot of whip pans that go back to static shots, and it kind of felt like it was Scorsese directing it, but this is a weird elemental movie, almost in the same way The Revenant is. They're going out there, they're actually making this, they're filming it out in like really wild locations, and I have so much respect for that. But it just didn't really have the right kind of vibe for me to really, it didn't have the bite. There wasn't any stylistic bite.
I suppose, yeah, for me, that's kind of like where like I really enjoyed it, and there was the kind of parts where I didn't like it as much, as obviously because them going out into these areas and capturing it like it was the 1600s, like I really got that feeling. But then on the opposite end of things, they did use a mix of both a digital camera and a film camera, and I could tell when they were swapping.
Yeah, it
plus
changed the
also
feel.
Some average kind of CGI throughout it. I was kind of like, Scorsese, brother, you're
don't
going
need it.
above and beyond for all these practical effects, and they are blowing me away. Why are you kind of letting yourself down a little bit with some CGI?
There was no need for a lot of them. I think the other thing as well is like, yeah, it just, the soundtrack thing kind of was a little bit frustrating for me, because you can hear it just softly in the background sometimes, like it's whispering to you. Again, completely see what he's doing there. It's like a godly whisper in the background. I completely understand that intention. But for me, I was like, there's so many times I was like, just let the soundtrack, like it did in the trailer, just fire up and roar and just get me a bit more emotionally involved. Because the thing is, when music in a scene is really great, the scene sticks with you a whole lot more. And the film, this is the type of film that is supposed to stay with you at the end. And for me, it's already kind of gone. And it's so disappointing, because for me, it was the last film on our most anticipated film list of 2016, and it was the last one I had hoped for to actually blow me away, and unfortunately it just didn't.
Yeah, but I don't know, like I suppose that kind of happens. But yeah, I don't know, like I did really enjoy it. I had a few tears and a few moments throughout, and like I really did enjoy what Scorsese has created here, and especially kind of like, I suppose like by the end of it, what he is trying to say and what he does say, like I enjoyed it. It's not as if I kind of really grasped onto it and kind of like I'm going to take that with me forever. But like I really did enjoy like it as a singular piece of art. I suppose that's the last thing that I will say as well. It's kind of unfortunate. As much as I froth it and really did enjoy it, and it is a piece of art, it's also going to struggle finding an audience, because the thing is, it was created to be art and not to be sold in a way. It's kind of like there's only a very singular few people that will come and see this film.
It was created by one person because they wanted to make it, and there's not much consideration for audience because the film is just exactly as Scorsese needed it to be. So for that reason, people are probably going to... I mean, that's why it hasn't already done that well in the US, and I think it's going to continue to struggle. Hopefully it finds a major cinema loving audience down the track, but at the moment, it's just not quite there. And that's why, for me, with scoring this film, as much as I didn't really enjoy it that much, I do see how good it is. So for me, I'm able to give it I'm going to have to go just under, I'm going to give it a 7.9 out of 10.
And I'm giving this one a flat 9 out of 10 for me as well. Banging time, if you get the chance, well worth checking out to see how you feel about it.
Yeah, because it's one of those films that I think needs to be seen, and just whether, you'll feel how you feel about it. It's just one of those things that's probably worth being seen. So that was our review of Silence. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Pray for more Banter.
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere.
You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter at Breaking Banter.